Good morning, everybody. It's December 28th, and this is Lauren Cohen reporting to you live from the sunny South Florida. And I am here with my good friend, Orly Amor, who has joined us on my podcast, Investing Across Borders. Now, although Orly herself doesn't particularly invest across borders, she was born in Israel. She grew up in Canada, Montreal, that other city down the 401 from where I grew up. And now she lives and serves clients from her headquarters in New York, in Brooklyn, right? Right, Orly?
Yes,
And
thank you for
Orly and
having me.
I met about 10 years ago on the phone, and we connected, but then we lost touch. And then we re-met about a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago in Melbourne, Florida. And I was like, I know you. And she was like, oh my God, I know you too. And that was it. And we were friends ever since. And we've been trying to help each other build our businesses as Orly's brands have been developing and growing, as have mine. And of course, as a fellow Canadian who's doing business in the US, who's been through the immigration process and had all that fun stuff happen, she's often come to me with for some guidance and advice. So Orly, welcome to our show. Thank you so much for your time today, just before the new year. How are you? How is the weather? How's everything?
I'm great. Thank you for having me. That's a loaded question, but it's freezing in New York. It
Yes.
is definitely cold. You're in sunny Florida, so happy for you. But yeah, it's just beautiful, and every day above ground is a good day. So
Ain't that
thank
the
God.
truth?
Hmm.
Last year around this time, we were both getting ready to go on the marketers cruise, which
Yes,
this year they're having a virtual Zoom party to get people together, but they've delayed the cruise, obviously, for
till
obvious reasons. We're
November.
going through
Yes,
COVID. And thank God that we're all healthy.
exactly.
Orly, tell us a little bit about your experience with working with people from all over the world, global investors, global entrepreneurs. You
Right.
certainly have worked with the plethora of them. And also tell us a little bit about your two businesses. Obviously, your speaking business, getting paid for what you speak, and about the global wellness endeavor.
Well, thank you for that. It's very it's also a loaded question, but I'll do my best
I
to
give
keep
all
it short
loaded
answer.
questions, because I mean, here we are.
I
I
get
think we
it.
can both handle it, girl.
Definitely, definitely. Well, I've been in the speaking world for over 24 years and speaking full time all over the world. Actually, I've been to 26 countries and 18 states speaking full time. And
How
about
many
10 years ago,
provinces? I'm just kidding.
I'm sorry, how many provinces actually across Canada?
There you
Yes,
go.
absolutely. But and speaking on, I started my speaking career in property management all across Canada. I was actually the youngest woman in Canada to receive the Business Woman of the Year award in the property management field when I was 24. So it was, yeah, a long, long, long time ago. I almost 30
When we
years
were
ago.
young.
Oh, it's horrible when you say that. Oh my
No,
goodness.
right?
Yes, I'm 50. I'm going to be 54. So yes,
Yeah.
about 30 years ago. Oh my God.
I'm there
Anyway,
with you, girl.
I feel great though. I don't feel a day over 20. I'm just kidding.
Well,
So,
I do.
all right. And so I've traveled the world and had an amazing experience doing that. And when I was faced in a conference in Arlington, Texas, where I realized that some speakers did not get paid, I got paid.
Most.
I decided to coach speakers on the business side of getting paid as a speaker. I've always been paid, so I didn't know that speakers did not get paid. That was like my aha moment at that conference, because you don't know what you don't know. Well, that was the moment for me where I did not know that speakers did not get paid. Well, there are speak to sell speakers. They make a lot of money too, but that is a skill set that you need to develop. It's not for everybody. And I am not that type of a speaker. So I decided to coach speakers, and then the world just opened again. I have clients from all over the world: Australia, UK, you name it. I mean, Bahamas. I mean, they came from all over. And I have another program called the Mindset Mastery Program, which is also overcoming obstacles and trauma and so on and so forth because of my own story.
Is what I was just going to say, because you've been there and done that yourself.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
so at the end of the day, the world became smaller. That's how I feel. The world became smaller. But then there's all these what do you call it, like just challenges of cross borders, just like you were talking about it. And of course, knowing today what it's like, if I knew then what I know now, right? It's always, it comes back to that question: why didn't I know Lauren 20 years ago? Right? It's something like that, right? You ask yourself these kind of questions because You don't know what you don't know, but if you don't ask, you also won't know. And
But you
nobody
don't
can
always know
really.
what to ask. I mean, that's the biggest challenge. Like a lot of people that are doing, even people that are working with you that have businesses in other countries, they don't know that it's really important when you're doing stuff in the US or in Canada to get advice on both sides. And they just, a lot of real estate investors, you were in the property management space, I'm in
Yes,
the real estate space. They'll invest in America and they have no clue that it's going to impact them in Canada or Britain or
of
whatever.
course,
And it's a
of
big
course.
deal.
You mentioned something very important, is like they don't know what to ask, but the
Right.
problem is not that they don't know what to ask. I don't think that, because especially in public speaking and in business in general, I would say this: a lot of people say, I'll figure it out. And that is the biggest mistake people make, is
Right.
I'll figure it out as I go. Instead of talking about it, just talk to a friend. Say, you know what, I'm having this challenge, I'm thinking about this, right? And let people tell you what they're thinking. Hear other people's opinions about it. You don't need to get their advice, but get their opinion, because not everybody is, you know, an expert or in giving that advice, but you can definitely listen to people's opinions, because people will tell you about a story of a client or of a friend or of a cousin or something that will might spark a thought, and that
Mhm.
thought can become a question, and that question is exactly what you need to be asking. So I think that people's ego gets in the way of, oh, you know what, I'll figure it out. Like people tell me, oh, I'll figure it out, I'll do my website. What the heck will you do your website for? Nobody knows who you are. What are you working on doing your website for? Speaking, let's say, what are you working on? Nobody knows who you are. What are you working on? How do you know what to do on your website? Just give it to somebody to do your website, or you're doing it yourself?
So
Really,
what
you're
would
going
you
to
tell
waste your
that
time.
person if they came to you, Orly, and said, "Oh, I want
What?
to do a website to promote my services"? What would your answer be?
My answer will be, do not do it. You know why? Because first of all, you don't know the business enough to know what to put on your website. Number
Mhm.
one. Number two, you don't know who is your target market. You don't know how much to charge. You don't know what you're doing yet. Why would you put a website together? Even if you're going to give it to somebody else, why don't you start making money first? Then pay somebody else to do it. Why would you waste the time to do it, right? Do you go to your mechanic to fix your teeth? Do you go to your, do you go to your dentist to fix your car? I mean, like literally, that's where it goes.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what gets in the way of people. So the same thing goes for cross borders. When you don't know what you don't know, you just talk to people and people will give you their opinion, which can be advice that you don't really need, but don't worry about it. Just listen.
Right. Right. And the other
That's it.
thing that people can give you, and it's interesting. We were out with a couple on the weekend from Ottawa, and we met after they did their immigration. But I'm working with them on some various matters and helping with some business stuff, and they're significant investors. And they were saying how a lot of people just don't even understand what the options are. And when you talk to people, don't go and talk to a million different professionals and get a million different answers. What's really important is to talk to people that can refer you to people that you can then trust, because it's a short degree of separation, and you have that frame of reference, and it's really important because there's an accountability aspect. You don't just want to go searching for people on the internet. Like, I'm not going to go and find Orly Amor on the internet. I'm going to know Orly from Joe and Fred and Shannon and Frida and whatever. And that's how you know that Orly is good people, right? So Orly, why don't you tell us a little bit about um, your speaking business and how it's been impacted positively and negatively by COVID?
Well, negatively, it has not been impacted by COVID. So here is my 2 cents on that. Everybody has been impacted somehow, some way.
Yes.
So as entrepreneurs, and if you have the entrepreneur mindset, because this is what it's going to take. Most speakers don't have the entrepreneur mindset. They have still the employee mindset. What is the difference? It's not a bad thing or a good thing. It's just what it is.
Just a fact.
The employee mindset is somebody that's looking to have a paycheck or
Mhm.
some kind of money that comes in on a consistent basis to pay the bills.
Mhm.
An entrepreneur mindset is a creative mindset because
Yeah.
they learn how to pivot around any kind of circumstance, any kind of dilemma, any kind of thing that is thrown at them at any moment of any, at any time, right? And my first thought, if you will, what I've been teaching my clients is a process. It's called the process. Actually, my clients say, you got to change the name of that thing. It's called the process, but you got to change it. And I said, okay, when you find a good name for it, let me know. But the process is something that I've been following for 20 years of my career that has worked. And we pivoted, we tweaked it, and so on to make it to take less time to do the same kind of amount of money, which is great. And during COVID, now, of course, none of us were ready for this. None of us, the whole industry was not ready for
Right.
this.
The
Excellent.
whole
I
world.
agree. The whole world, the whole industry, any
Exactly.
industry. I get it.
Yeah.
But so the month of March was kind of iffy and weird, and nobody knew what to do and what to expect and so on. But instead of getting into the gloom and doom of things and listening to the TV or the news from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m., like some people I know, I was not doing that. I was
My
like, okay,
mom.
what? My husband, are you kidding? But my point here is like, okay, what can I do during this time? What is it that I need to do? What is it that I need to do about my business? Now, my phone was blowing up. My clients and my employees, everybody was calling to see, Orly, do I still do the process? And I said,
Yeah.
yes. They're like, yeah, but events are canceling. I said, you continue doing the process no matter what. That's every day, every day, every day. You keep going. That's what you need. You need to stay in your lane no matter what is going on in the world. Stay in your lane, right?
Mm-hmm.
And guess what happened? Now, so here's the cool part, right? I wrote a book that just before COVID was published called Public Speakers, You're Not All That, 12 Reasons Why Event Planners Won't Hire You. Yes. So the cool part about that is that I interviewed 3,400 event planners who pay speakers for this book. And it was really interesting that I just published it in December. And so when all this happened, I'm like, okay, what do I tell people now, right? Cool. Well, I called back some of these event planners and I learned something. So instead of sitting around waiting for things to happen, I decided to take some calls and find out what really is going on. Well, here's what I found out. I tell people there are 64,000 events a day in America alone, Canada and the United States, that pay speakers. Mm-hmm. Now, these did not vanish overnight because of COVID. Let's get real, right? People did just like, oh, everybody stopped. No, it kept going. So let's divide those events into 3 groups. The first group definitely canceled their events because they didn't know what they were going to do. So they need to regroup and reevaluate and see what they're going to do. If they're going to postpone it, when to and how and blah, blah, blah. That's one group. The other group, they were so well equipped to go virtual that they just flipped on a switch, sent an email to all the speakers, sent an email to all the attendees, boom, they're virtual, seamless. I was one of the speakers in some of these events, so I know how it worked and it was awesome. I was already paid. Why wouldn't they go ahead and do it? There was no reason for not doing it. It was all the events from March to September that did that. And we're talking about the 3 groups. The third group, here is the coolest thing ever. The third group, not only did they cancel, but they postponed immediately with the venue for 2021 with a contingency that if, again, we don't know what happens and how long this is going to be and take and if the venue will be open and how and all that stuff, that with the contingency that they will bring the event virtually. So then they'll be ready. Will prepare everything to be to be ready to be virtual or live. Mm-hmm. Beautiful. But they had another problem on their hands. And here is where the caveat is in any industry. They had a problem that the speakers were canceling. Right. Because they were not available in those new dates. How cool is it for my clients and for those of us who kept in our lane? Because we were getting hired and we were making money during COVID. So when I talk to people and I say, you know what, April, May, June 2019 versus April, May, June 2020, I tripled my money. So on the positive side, you're asking me what was the negative. The negative is that I needed to pivot. And pivoting was doing webinars. Like that was never my thing.
No.
I hated webinars to begin with. So I decided I'm going to do webinars, but in a different way. It's not going to be all about Orly and all that half an hour talk about myself and then 10 minutes of content and then 20 minutes of pitch. I don't want to do that. Never wanted to. So I stopped that. But I started group coaching and then more people were able to afford it. So we got more groups going. And now it's like it's taken off. It's beautiful. Everybody can join as a group instead of one-on-one coaching. Fabulous. And it works so well that it's been amazing. So, you know what? That's what the creative part about being an entrepreneur mindset is. You pivot, you create.
You mentioned pivot, and another thing that you've done very well is you've been doing a lot of cross promotion like we're doing here and bringing people onto your show. What is it, on Mondays? Is that when you do
It's Ask the Expert Monday, but it has to serve speakers. Yes.
So the beautiful part of that is that you're giving these people that may not have pivoted as well as you a forum to speak and a forum for you to share their message with others. And that gives you it brings credibility to you and it shows that you're a giver. And at the end of the day, giving is what I think is driving us through this COVID time successfully. Have you noticed a difference, because obviously most of your clients are American, but have you noticed a difference in terms of reaction from people outside of America that are, I'll reiterate, or I'll restate this. One thing I've noticed for me, since it's not as easy for me to travel because I have a child, is I've been able to speak at international forums, which is my specialty, which I would not have been able to speak at pre-COVID because you had to physically be there or you were out, you weren't even considered, right? So now I'm speaking at events on a daily basis. I created a partnership with a Canadian company that I've never met in person, and we're partners. And these are the kind of things that I'm sure you have seen day in and day out. And I'm just wondering, is there a difference in the mindset from American clients versus outside of America?
No, actually, I have clients from all over the world, UK, Australia, like I said, and everywhere in Canada as well. Now, those clients are realizing that the world is opening up for them.
So much.
I spoke at an event on the 14th of July. It was a 9.5-hour event. There were 115 countries and 30 million people attended.
30 million? Orly?
30 million, yeah, 30 million people in 115 countries.
How did what forum was that on?
It was EXO. It was like an amazing event. It was unbelievable. Wow. Literally something that I would have never even fathomed exists.
Yeah. Right? I guess that's
so,
how Tony Robbins has been speaking to these masses, probably a similar platform.
I don't know, but my point here is that, you know what, it does open the world, and events will get smaller before they get bigger again because of the fear that has been inculcated into people. What is real, what is true, we don't know, but it's controlled. So at the end of the day, it's up to you to forge your way. And that's why I say to people, stay in your lane, do your thing. Don't listen to the media. Don't listen to the news. Everything is controlled. Everything is a lie. Everything is to keep fear in you. So why are you even going there? Do what you need to do for your business and stop listening all around. Now, you said something earlier that was very good about who do you trust? You know, people do business and refer business to people they know, like, and trust, right? We all know this. We've been saying it 100 million times. But here's what people don't do is they don't listen. Right. They just think that somebody is out to get them all the time. That's the fear that has been inculcated.
Especially now. That's even worse now. I mean, don't you like people?
I don't know that. And
I've seen it because I was getting people access to the SBA money at the beginning, and they were so angry if they didn't get it. And they got like a little bit I think there was a bit of,
Jaded. But
yeah,
it,
jaded and
yeah,
apprehension and what
right.
do you want from me? What's in it for me
Right,
kind of thing. Yeah.
right, right. And but I would say this. I first of all, there are 7 billion people on this planet, and at the end of the day, I did not speak to 7 billion people.
No?
At the end of the day, my point here is that I can't stereotype humans. You can't stereotype humans. You're gonna run into those who care and
Right.
want and listen. You're gonna run into those who say, no, what do you want from me, and are scared. And then you're going to run into those who are very open-minded and say, okay, what do you got? And you know what? I want to work with those who are open to listen.
Of course.
If they're at least open to listen, you know, there's a chance that they will either commit, not commit, or decide later. And if it's not, if it's a no, it's no for not for right now. And you got to move on. That's another thing. People get attached. People get, attached, but more importantly, possessive with
Yes.
their intellectual property, with everything. So much so that they are missing out on opportunities and blessings. If you think about it that
So
way,
true.
I think that people are missing out on the blessings that are
Yes.
given to them, and it is by God. It's just delivered in a human form. But if they're not listening, then they're, you know, we always say, oh, listen to your intuition, it'll never fail you. Listen to that intuition. It will
Listen. Oh
never,
gosh.
ever, ever fail you. And unfortunately, people think so. The rationale kicks in,
Yeah.
and it's like, okay, what do you want from me?
Right.
Oh, I know you want my money. That's what it is. And I'm like, no, I don't want your money. I could care less about your money. What do you want to do in the world? How can I support you that way? Because maybe your money is no good for me. Maybe you're not even a good fit as a client for me. Maybe I'm not good for you. Maybe I'm not a good coach for you, because I'm a very, very tough coach. Are you willing to do the work? And if you're not,
No.
don't hire me. Don't do. Yes, I talk like that to people,
Of course
because
you
here
have
is,
to.
you have to be real.
Right.
You know, when people say, oh, you got to be authentic. Oh God, I hate that word. Seriously. Why? Because some people say I'm authentic, but they don't act authentically.
Agreed.
So
Yeah.
you know what? Show me. Show
Listen,
me
you
who you
come
are.
from the most authentic place in the world, okay? From Israel to Canada, where they used to call me the stern Canadian because I didn't know how to like cover up. I was just kind of like, this is me. That's why you and I get along, you know, and sometimes we'll butt heads, but at the end of the day, I love you. You know, we know that we can trust each other, would never do anything to hurt one another. And a lot of the things that you said, Orly, are so true. Like, you know, my four favorite words are stay in your lane. And when I speak, not as much when I'm speaking about international real estate investing, but when I speak about the importance of having a proper legal structure, staying in your lane is critical. You mentioned pivoting. Entrepreneurs, pivot was the number one word for entrepreneurs in 2020. And if you weren't able to pivot, look, I had 6 huge contracts that were signed at the beginning in March, and they all fell apart. And I could have buried my head and been depressed and, you know, whatever. Not that I wasn't challenged. My kid was depressed, but we got through it, and I pivoted and I made a difference and I helped people. And that's what made me tick. Another thing you said about this whole, you know, the ability for all these people to impact more lives, and you being on that huge platform, that is the silver lining of COVID, one of them, and also creating very strong affiliate and joint venture relationships with people. So, and the other thing I wanted to mention is we were talking about how technology has really taken a hold. Like, if we didn't have Zoom and all of these technology platforms, if this had happened 10 years ago, we would be, let's just leave it at not in as good a place as we are, because we can talk every day, we can talk live, we have FaceTime, we have so much technology. And part of that, as you mentioned about this huge platform, and you know that I'm part of this cloud-based real estate company, which has gone from $8 in stock at the beginning of COVID to $85 on Friday, okay? That story is a crazy story because it's a real estate company that's tech driven. And we have this platform where you go in and you have these little avatars. I tell you, Orly, I still go in and hit the wall almost every time, no matter how many times I do a mastermind in there. But life has changed. And for those of us that are true entrepreneurs, like Orly, that have been able to pivot and take their business online, which is not something she would ever have planned, but she has done it with a vengeance and she's made an impact. The other thing that Orly does, which is super cool, is this health and wellness networking group, which I know she was aspiring to build when we first met, and now she has built it and it is international. Orly, tell us just a little bit about that and how international it is, because it's huge.
Yes. So when I started it in 2015, it's called the Health and Wellness Network of Commerce. So HWNCC.com. And it's called the Health and Wellness Network of Commerce Corporation Inc. So if anybody's asking why the CC, it's not Chamber of Commerce, it's Network of Commerce Corporation. And so when I started it in 2015, I did not know what I was doing, to tell you the truth. It just took a life of its own. And within a month, we were in 3 countries, in 3 states, and then it just took off. What a problem to have for a business that you don't know what you're going to do. But I call it my pay it forward baby, because it's not really for me to make money. It's for its impact, right?
Yes.
We want the mission statement is it's a platform for health and wellness professionals, practitioners, service product providers to network with corporate professionals while providing a sustainable system for both. It was created so health and wellness and corporate come together. Corporate meaning lawyers, financial planners, real estate people. Everybody comes together and helps each other grow each other's business, because they don't do it organically. See, financial planners will hang out with real estate people because they can refer business to each other very organically. But what would a dentist have to do with a financial planner? Well, maybe use his services, but maybe not to refer business to each other organically. And we wanted to change that, because I'm a networker and I'm definitely a connector. I'm actually trademarked the Millionaire Connector. So if I wanted to do that and to help people, then I needed to build a bridge. HWNCC became that bridge. In 2020, because of my mentor, Bernie Dorman, that we both know and love, and God bless his soul, I thank for him every single day, because he envisioned what I really wanted for HWNCC when I took his Raising Capital class. And you and I actually stayed together at that forum. Actually, this whole thing happened because of you. And thanks to you, believe it or not, thanks to you. Actually, yes, the whole thing is thanks to you.
I didn't want to say anything, but
well, no, you don't have to, because let me tell you, you are a big portion of this. So what happened was...
Well, Bernie, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but Bernie Dorman, whom we lost in 2020, I only knew him for 2 years. Orly for a year and a bit.
Less than a year.
This person, if you knew him, he supersized everything. It's like, he was like the McDonald's of entrepreneurs. And he just, there's no way you could walk by him. Even my son, who at the time was 9 or 8 when he met him, could not walk by this man without feeling the energy and the impact. And that's what you're talking about. And you're right, he had such an impact.
But he saw something in so even in that Raising Capital class, we had to give the presentation to the whole class. So when I went up there, after we learned all weekend what to do, blah, 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 I went in front of the class and Bernie just took over. Do you guys realize this is a $5 billion company? And I'm looking at him thinking, is he talking about me? Like, is he talking about my company? Because that doesn't seem right. But it's okay. It's okay. The supersizing was not the issue, because I didn't think about money. I thought about vision, about what my app and what my website will do. But I had no plan. I just wanted seed money for it. So here's the cool thing. In the beginning of 2020, somebody called me and gave me an opportunity to have the exact platform for this. The technology is a $30 million technology that encompasses LinkedIn, Facebook, Eventbrite, Match.com, Angie's List, all these apps, all these technology in one. And now this is what took off. And now we are going to be in 8 countries, because we were in 6, but now we're going to be in 8 countries in 18 states, and we have 57 chapters all over the world, and we're growing by the day. And if you go to the app, you'll see, there's over 350,000 users already, and we have just started.
Is it free to join the app?
It's free as a user, completely free, and you can go to all the events for free.
It's health and wellness.
It's HWNCC.
That's the app. Okay, that's how
That's
you
the
find
app.
it.
You
Okay,
can,
got it.
you cannot miss it. You cannot
Okay.
miss it. It has the logo that's behind me there, but I know you won't be able to see it. But
Not really.
HWNCC is the
And we'll put
app.
that in the
It's
show
on
notes.
Android. It's on the App Store. I mean, like iOS, and we are just in the beginning. This is the beginning of the iceberg, but it's going to take off. And I was able to mention the launch of it at that big event, EXO. Unbelievable. I was so happy. It's a big deal, and we're just looking for more people to come on board because it's a movement of paying it forward.
What a difference a year makes, right?
Yeah, but it's all through COVID. Everybody's thinking, oh, COVID, oh, let me stop, let me wait, let me, and my clients were getting hired as speakers virtually. So, and they were paid virtually.
It's
So
amazing.
anybody that wanted to press pause missed the boat.
There you go. That's for sure. Orly, what would you say to somebody who is an aspiring speaker, either from another country or that wanted to become a global speaker? What would your number one tip be for them?
Contact and don't give up, because the problem with people is they give up before the 6-second miracle. And I don't know if you know the story about the 6-second miracle, but definitely check that out. It's a real story. It's a real story of a man who bought a house because he heard about this gold mine in the backyard, and so he started digging, and then he gave up after a few years, and the person who bought the house found the gold. That's really what it is. I'm making it very short, but it's such a beautiful story that people need to read it. It's the 6-second miracle. And it really is that exact thing. Do not give up. I had a person who came on one of those speaking, I was hired to speak. And one person that was in that audience on virtual actually said, event planners don't even get back to you. I'm like, excuse me, what do you think event planners are doing all day? Like, what do you think they're busy with? So if they're not looking for speakers, they're not going to respond. Well, first of all, they're not going to respond to you if they're not looking for speakers. Maybe you should just continue contacting speakers every single day, event planners every single day, no matter what. And those who will. Right. Some will, some won't. Who cares? Who's next? Continue. And then if you do it methodically and you do it consistently, then you will get hired if you just continue. If you just go and stop, then you don't have consistency in your business. Why would anybody want to do business with you? A little bit of a tip: 48% of speakers don't even get back to event planners. Yeah. 48% in this day and age. We're in 2020. End of 2020. We're 4 days away from being in 2021. 48%. Listen,
no matter speakers. What, no matter how good you've done professionally, I am really glad 2020 is about to be over. Because I remember when 2020 was starting, we were all excited because it's like, 2020, it's a leap year. I mean, God, it just can't get a whole lot worse than this year was, especially health-wise.
Let's not jinx it. Let's just go with the flow.
All that other stuff. So, Orly, right. I am going to share all of this on the show notes, but how do people reach you?
OrlyAmor.com, HWNCC.com. Join the platform. It's completely free. You can join all of our events for free, and you can connect with me on there as well. And through the app, you can just connect with me as the founder of HWNCC and text me through the app. It's all free. So yeah, it's amazing. And you can connect with so many other people around the planet and around the country, locally, internationally. Just join, and you can get on my calendar anytime for even a 20-minute conversation to see where you're at and how I can support you. Completely free again.
No hard sell. Orly's really here to support you and share her wisdom with you. And I mean, she knows her stuff. And as you can see, she's a woman. She's a real woman, not authentic, although we are authentic. We can't help it. Orly, it's been a pleasure as always. I'm excited to post this. I'll obviously share everything with you. And thank you so much. And I wish you an amazing, amazing 2021.
Same to you, Lauren. Thank you for having me. Appreciate you.
Bye for now, everybody. Investing across borders. We will see you at our next show. Thank you so much. This is Lauren Cohen signing off for today. Bye for now.